So let me show you how to use multi-layered stamps as well as make multiples of the same card. Now this is Altenews Peony Bouquet. So now this is a stamp set where there are 4 layers for one stamp. So this is the outline, this is the base, this is the over highlights. So I'm using Altenews, I think Red Cosmos. Yeah, Red Cosmos with it. So let's get started. Now I have a A2 size cardstock inside, and when using multi-layered stamps I generally like to use a transparency, or this is the old Stamp-A-Magic sheet. It's a very thick acetate so that it helps me aligning, or the next option I have is the Quilter's template plastic, which is very thin plastic but which has grids, so it helps to align your stamps perfectly. So I have cut them down to size. I have a couple of sizes that I usually cut down and keep. So this is an A2 size that I have. So I'm going to be using this to line up my stamps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make double of this design. I'm just making sure the flower is facing in the direction that I want, and then I'm going to close this lid. And I forgot to use my magnets. So if you forget to use your magnets, because these stamps are sticky, it may lift up your paper. So whenever you're stamping, just make sure you put your magnets in place. So I'm using the Red Cosmos set. And then I'm going to close the lid. And it's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the cardstock and again stamp it. And because I'm not moving the stamp at all, it's going to give me the same image. Then what I can do is come in with another cardstock, keep my stamp in the same place, stamp again, rotate the cardstock, so this is how you can just keep your cardstocks ready. Pick out your design which works for the image you have in mind. Again, close the lid and you have an image. Then I'm going to go back and pick up my next layer of stamp. Now here is that. So now I'm gonna just see through this and line up my stamp. Perfect. Sometimes if you're not sure whether you're getting a perfect impression or no, what I do is either like to use a transparent plastic, or this is a gridded plastic that I got off Amazon. So I use that and then just lightly ink up my stamp and stamp it over this to see whether it's stamping in the correct place. Now with the outlines I can see that it is going to stamp perfectly. So I'm going to remove this plastic and then ink my stamp. It's going to give me a perfect image. Now you can see that there is a bit of ink on this, but it will not affect your paper at all. Now because we did all the designs without moving the stamp, you can just simply turn your cardstock, make sure it is wedged into the corner. That is the most important thing. Once you get the hang of it, you get into a rhythm. That's it. Alright, so then now we just clean off this stamp. And then we go into the third layer. I'm again wedging the cardstock into its corner, making sure it does not move. So just yeah. You can just close the lid. Make sure to wedge it back in. Now I'm using coral berry. And ta-da! I love when this happens. It's just so magical. And once you get your first impression correct, you can just keep going and just make as many as you want with the same design. Right, and then the last layer of clean this. And we have the last layer, and here I'm going to be using the darkest ink in this stamp. It becomes extremely easy. So I'm using grape wine now. You can see the amazing highlights it has. There you go. Let me just put this aside. So this is how you can like you can see it was so fast. You just had to line it up with one image and the rest would just follow like clockwork. So this is how you can make multiple of the same, mass produce your cards for holidays or Diwali or things like that. So now I'm also going to show you how to do repeated stamping. Right, so let me place this cardstock. This is again 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now here what I'm going to be doing is taking a sentiment and repeatedly stamping it. So I have this Hero Art Stamp and Cuts. Now here I want this at this edge to and go repeatedly hello. Alright, so what I'm going to do is place this here where I want it, lift it up. Then I'm going to take up cranberry ink and stamp hello. Because this is the first inking, this is how it is going to stamp. So go back again over it and we have a beautiful clean image. Now clean this off thoroughly well, and also I'm going to be using my stamping sheet over here. I'm going to stamp it with Versafine. Stamp it with something that you can see properly. Okay. it up with this line. Right. Now I'm going to lift the cardstock and move that image till I can see where I want this to stamp. Alright, so now I'm going to fix this over here, remove my acetate sheet and use another color. There you go. Alright, now if I want a third color below this, I'm going to do exactly the same steps. Again, put my sheet where it was. It should line up with that hello perfectly. Right, now lift this up even more and then put your magnets. The next one, and we shall use some blues. There we go. There we go. So this is how you can do repeated stamping with your sentiment stamps, with your image stamps, whatever you feel like, you can do it. Your die stamps, especially Ranger and Lawn Fawn, will for sure stain your stamps, but you can always clean them off with your Cleanse It. Just dab a little bit on this and it will be stained, but no issues with stamping it.